many in the room. What I'm going to do is just ask everyone. Yep, I will hit record in just 1 second. Thanks, Amanda. I just ask all the spectators, keep your cameras off, please. Committee can have their cameras on, and then we will we'll do discussion when you're done. Debbie, how does that sound? Like a good plan?
Sounds perfect. Yes, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Recording has started. So just so you took care of it, Dr. Lily.
Thank you, Dr. Switzer. Yeah, good. And then we will we'll make sure that everyone keeps themselves muted and cameras off, and then committee will just have a good time, right? We'll just have a good time afterwards. Just talking to Debbie and just getting into her research. That will be great. Okay, so I will bless you now then, Debbie, in our time together, and then I'm going to let you share.
Okay.
Oh, Holy Father, what a awesome and joyous time this is. I just I just am so thankful for Debbie and her hard work and her committee. They have been great to offer insight and support. And it's just it's just such a celebratory time, Lord, that I know it can also be nerve-wracking. And I just pray for Debbie that she's able to articulate well, Lord, that you will handle the technology. Any glitches that may come up, we will work through those, and that you just give her a sweet spirit, Lord, that will just help her feel, just calm and collected during this time as she takes her time to really sit in her findings, as we are so excited to hear about this. And just to kind of watch another chapter, right? Another chapter in her academic book be able to come and come to a close. Lord, we thank you so much for your son, Jesus. I thank you for liberty, that we can open this meeting in prayer and just pour blessings over Debbie. It's in your son's awesome holy name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Lily.
You're welcome. So after you share, Debbie, then I will mute myself. I want to make sure everything's going well.
Sounds good. Thank you, everyone, for being obedient and turning your cameras and mics off. And I'm going to break the rules and ask you to turn them on, just the camera, for just a short minute, Dr. Lily. Okay?
No problem. It's your show.
Turn them on if you're in a place to do that. Good. Oh my goodness. I just want to look at you all. Thank you so much for making the time to be here. I really appreciate it. Mark Millman, I really can't even express how much I appreciate you in allowing me to get to this place. I would not be here without you, honey. I'd like to ask you to open us again in prayer. I appreciate your prayer, Dr. Lily. His are just a little bit more special. Okay, go ahead, honey.
I get it. Yeah.
Well, Lord, just agree with Dr. Lily's prayer and just lift up Debbie to you now, and just thank for all the work that's gone into this, her team, her colleagues, all the people that have helped bring her to this moment, and pray that this time would be special. And I also just pray it'd be fruitful for your kingdom and for the world around us. And just ask your hand, anointing and appointing on it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, honey. All right.
You're welcome.
Now go away. Turn your cameras off. All right. Love you guys.
Goodbye to everybody. And Debbie, I will tell you, as you're pulling it up, Nana also says congratulations and good luck. And I'm like, Nana, we're not going to say congratulations.
I just love her.
She wanted to send some blessings your way too.
Okay. Very good. All right. So thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lily, for the introduction. I appreciate everyone from so many different walks of my life making the time to be here today. I also want to take this time to give a special thanks to my dissertation committee for their investment in me during this process. Thank you for your time, your wisdom, and your well-timed questions and your challenges that helped not only form the end product of what I think will be a publishable manuscript after this is over, but also you've helped to form me as a counselor educator. Dr. Lily, thank you for agreeing to be my dissertation chair before I even knew what my topic would be. Dr. Switzer and Dr. Crable, thank you for giving your time and talent in a way that helped make this end product the best it could be. So let's talk about this dissertation. My topic is the use of artificial intelligence in the clinical supervision of counselors in training. This topic came to be for two reasons. In my career, I've overseen the counseling skills of many counselors. While I loved and still love doing this work, I've never truly felt like I did it justice. While carrying my own caseload of clients over the past 15 years, I also met with counselors regularly for supervision and found myself pressed for time and capacity to have my head wrapped around all the various complexities of what was happening with each client. I never truly felt like I had a handle on how well the counselors I supervised were doing in their work. They deserved and needed more supervision and direction than I had the capacity to give. In doing this study, I have been able to see the potential for artificial intelligence, or AI, to be a resource to help support supervisors on the administrative side of this important job that they had to do. Spoiler alert, I don't think AI can replace supervisors. Just say that from the beginning. The second reason I landed on this topic was that in Dr. Volk's advanced research seminar last summer, he strongly encouraged someone to include AI in their topic. It sounded interesting and exciting to me, and also making Dr. Volk happy has always been a life goal for me. So today I'll be sharing a brief background of my topic, the problem and purpose statements, the theoretical framework that underpins the study, the 3 research questions I sought to answer, and the results of each question, the research methodology I used, the limitations of the study, and of course, recommendations for further research. So, background of this topic, I think we'd all agree, and there's evidence of a high prevalence in mental illness in our country that is steadily on the rise. There is verified national shortages of mental health providers to meet this growing need. The past several years have seen an increase in the number of CACREP accredited master's level counseling programs with record levels of enrollment. And CACREP stands for something really amazing that I can't pull out of my brain right now, but they do accredit the master's level counseling programs and doctoral programs across the country, providing accountability and allowing counselors who go through those programs to more readily obtain licensure. So we have seen an increase in the need for capacity then to provide quality clinical supervision for new counselors entering the field. While there is an established use of AI in counselor education as a whole over the past several years, we've seen, for example, Dr. Moria down in Florida has done several studies that demonstrate how effective AI is at creating counseling scenarios for students to learn how to diagnose and treat clients. He also showed AI can create many forms of quiz and exam questions. Additionally, he showed that AI is able to some degree, score assignments, quizzes, and exams when correct prompting is given. Finally, when using AI as a chatbot, it can play the role of counselor or client to allow students to practice their skills. There are minimal studies exist which examine the use of AI in evaluating the counseling skills of counselors in training. There is a clear gap in the literature for this specific topic. So with that, we have our problem statement. And I gotta move a video around, get that out of my way. Oh, darn, hold on. Okay, so the problem statement is that there is a shortage of mental health providers in the US to meet the growing mental health needs that exist. So it stands to reason that to address this shortage, the capacity for clinical supervisors to provide clinical supervision for those entering the field must be improved. So this study, embedded in the larger context of technology and counselor education and supervision, seeks to address the gap in the literature by examining the potential for AI to support and enhance clinical supervision in counselor education. The theoretical framework that underpins this study is the developmental framework of clinical supervision. This framework comes from the perspective that counseling trainees are continually growing and improving. For example, a new counselor might be laser focused on learning and practicing their counseling skills and doing it right. Counseling students who are closer to internship level are learning to integrate information and will often appear much more confident in having a therapeutic conversation that feels more natural, and the skills they've been learning and practicing seem to come much more readily to them. It is important to note that the process doesn't always look the same for each student, and skilled counselor educators will take a student's current developmental level into account when mentoring and teaching them. Our professors at Liberty do this so well. So the study did use a quantitative comparative research design. This means that numerical data was compared between, in this case, 2 groups and analyzed for similarities, differences, and things like effect size. The primary participants in the study were the 41 counseling transcripts that were evaluated by artificial intelligence. 23 counseling professors and additionally 23 PhD students blindly compared the evaluations to determine which feedback they found more helpful. So to give you an idea of how I did this, what the methodology was, I first obtained approval from Liberty's International Review Board, also known as the IRB. The IRB provides oversight and accountability to ensure that all research involving human subjects is conducted ethically. In my case, the IRB gave me an exemption from this lengthy approval process as my study did not include protected health information for participants, so it posed no privacy risks. The transcripts were selected from the public domain, specifically from Alexander Street, located in Liberty's online library. Initially, I wanted to use archival data by pulling actual transcripts from practicum courses in our master's counseling program. Both IRB and the master's program would not allow this due to privacy issues. I would have preferred this, as using transcripts from actual counselors in training would have been ideal, but I was so grateful there were so many transcripts available to evaluate in our online library. PhD students were then recruited from our program using a private PhD Facebook page with strong results. My chair helped me recruit faculty through email and Canvas. All transcripts were evaluated by counseling professors using, and also ChatGPT, using the CCSR, which is a counseling company skills rubric that helps many programs across the country evaluate the skills of their students. This is a point in time measure that helps to get an initial baseline and then measure progress along the way. The same detailed instructions for using this instrument were provided both to AI and to professors. PhD students then did their comparison of the rubrics, the evaluations, using another rubric that I created based on Bernard and Goodyear's supervision framework. Statistical analysis of the results was completed with the assistance of a hired statistician using our statistical software. So we'll go through the 3 research questions now and the results of each one. So research question 1 was, is it possible for AI to rate counseling transcripts using a standardized counseling skills rubric? In order to do this, I started with a pilot study. It consisted of 5 transcripts, 5 counseling professors, and 5 PhD students. The professors evaluated the transcripts, AI evaluated, and then the PhD students did the comparisons. Statistical agreement between the AI scores and the professor scores was low, which indicated that AI was unable to reliably rate the transcripts when compared to a professor's evaluation. I did decide to proceed with a larger study to see if a larger sample size would make a difference in the results. It did not, as you'll see. So the second research question was, do counselor education professors rate counseling transcripts differently than AI when using a counseling skills rubric? Statistical analysis for this question confirmed the pilot study findings, showing poor agreement between AI and counseling professors' evaluation of counseling transcripts. This indicates that counselor education professors do rate counseling transcripts differently from AI. There may be a few reasons for the difference in scoring approaches. While AI relies on the CCSR rubric and instructions to evaluate the transcripts, professors may also rely on experience and human nuances that AI does not have access to. There appears to be a higher level of divergence in the skills that are more subtle therapeutic techniques like reflection of feelings, nonverbal skills, respect and compassion, and showing empathy and caring, which might be more difficult, for obvious reasons, for AI to assess. Also, with 18 different professors assessing the transcripts, their differences in scoring may have contributed to the difference in effect size for various skills. So, one moment, please. I have to figure out how to get this out of the way. Oh, there we go. Good. Okay, so this is just an example of some of the comparisons that were made. So the CCSR divides evaluation into 12 different areas. It looks at nonverbal skills, looks at the use of encouragers during the session, well-timed and appropriate questions throughout the session, reflection of what the client is saying in the form of paraphrasing, reflection of what the client's feelings are that they may or may not be saying, summarizing what the client is saying, letting them know that you're hearing what they're saying, reflection of any meaning behind what's being shared, confrontation that is therapeutic and helpful, not like a fight, goal setting, ability to focus the session, showing empathy and caring, and respecting compassion. So in transcript A here, you see that Professor A did their evaluation. You'll see that there are a number of NAs. So a lot of the professors did that with areas that were difficult to assess with video or without the video, sorry. The total for professor evaluations then for that transcript was 27.5. And when AI evaluated, it was almost double at 44. And it did make me question in those like nonverbal areas, what was AI evaluating? I'm not sure. For Professor B, transcript B was evaluated, and you see the low score there of 12.5 total, and then AI gave it a whopping 46. So big difference there. Things that make you want to go, let's see. Got all that. Okay. Tech. Good. All right. So for research question 3, I asked the question, do PhD counselor education students perceive feedback from AI as more helpful than feedback from counselor educators on key supervision domains? Overall, results showed that students preferred professor feedback over AI in 4 of the 5 categories. The 4 that they preferred were the category of clarity of the feedback, practicality of the feedback, relevance of the feedback, and then depth of the feedback. The one area that students did prefer AI feedback was in the balance of feedback category. And that category really just looks at, is it balanced? Is there positive feedback? Is there maybe more constructive feedback? And are there specific examples of how to improve? So with this one, a little bit of wondering, is it possible that while human feedback could be more inconsistent and skewed because of possible disagreement among the 18 professors who evaluated the transcripts, AI's consistency and balance in ratings influence PhD students' perception of its helpfulness? So in the 4 categories where students did prefer professor feedback, students seem to agree with professors' ratings as more realistic and helpful after reading the transcripts themselves. So in my 2 research classes, Dr. Volk and Dr. Bohecker taught us to ask the question, so what? So what does it matter that we found all this stuff? So the implications for counselor education would be, should we jump in and do a widespread rollout of employing AI to evaluate our transcripts instead of us evaluating our transcripts? We still need human professors. Sorry. And we always will, in my opinion. Students do value balanced feedback. So as the CCSR instructions outline, it's important for us in counselor education to remember to provide constructive feedback as well as helpful or strengths, the constructive feedback of the negatives, and then also telling them how good they're doing. And also the third thing is to really give some solid strategies for how they can improve their skills. So while the AI evaluations might serve as a supplement to help professors and save them some time on the more administrative side or on the skills that are more easily, not aside from the nonverbal ones, but they should not be used to replace human feedback. Human counseling professors are ultimately responsible for student evaluation. So while you maybe get a jump start by using AI to maybe catch things that you may otherwise have missed, ultimately we're responsible for those evaluations. So there were some limitations to this study. The first one was the sample size. The larger study evaluated 36 counseling transcripts. My analysis showed that I needed at least 32 for statistical significance, using a program called G-Power to determine this. So we had plenty to obtain that significance, but examining a high number of transcripts would increase the validity of the results. Secondly, the origin of the transcripts, as I said, was online through Liberty's library. Studying the transcripts of counselors in training would have been ideal, as many of the transcripts used were quite dated. And some of them were conducted by very famous counselors like Carl Rogers and many, many others. So that was interesting. Carl Rogers got really high scores, by the way. ChatGPT was the only form of AI used in this study. While this is a good start, it only shows how one type of AI performs. Since we didn't have demographic data for the counselors and clients in the transcripts of the professors and PhD students who helped, it is difficult to make inferences regarding differences in results from a multicultural perspective. Many of the professors gave feedback that it was difficult and some said impossible to evaluate some skills, such as nonverbal skills, using a transcript versus a video. Professors in our program are accustomed to assessing counseling skills using video recordings of the sessions. AI does not currently have the capacity to evaluate videos, so that is why I chose to use transcripts instead. One moment, please. Okay, so some recommendations for future research. You guys, the possibilities are endless. There's so much more that we could do with this, which I'm really excited about. But I'm just going to share a few ideas here with you today based on the limitations that we found in the study. We could explore training AI to use a different language model to evaluate the counseling transcripts. I chose to use untrained AI at the encouragement of my committee because we just wanted a baseline check-in to see how it did without a bunch of training. We could also examine that qualitative data in professors and students' anecdotal feedback. So, on the CCSR, there was numerical spots to give your scores, but there was also room for comments. That would be really interesting to dig deeper into. We could replicate the study using various forms of AI. We could also analyze the ratings of those 12 separate counseling domains that I told you about to figure out which skills might need to be evaluated differently. Finally, well, not finally, but next, we could study transcripts that represent diverse populations of counselors. And then finally, the last one that I'll, put out there is that we could look at the developmental levels of counselors and get transcripts from various developmental levels and just test those out on AI and see how it does with students who are at different levels of development. So we'll tie this up with some spiritual integration for our, I'm sorry, we're not taking questions at this time, Mr. Eason. So the spiritual integration would be, just several verses that I wanted to share with you. One is 2 Timothy 2, 1 and 2. You then, my child, be strengthened by the grace that is in Christ Jesus. And what you've heard from me in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to faithful men who will be able to teach others also. In the counseling profession, one of our primary aims is to impart to our clients and students what we've learned through our life and career and experience and training. We don't do this for ourselves. We seek to mentor, encourage, challenge, and care for those that God has entrusted us in the roles that he gives us. In this vein, I'd like to give special recognition to Dr. Stacy Lilly. Dr. Lilly, over the past few years, has invested in me beyond anything I could have expected. She consistently displays the heart of a mentor. A couple of summers ago, I was on campus taking an intensive supervision course, which she co-taught with Dr. Ford. One morning, she walks into our conference center early, sees me, and says, "Debbie, you're going on that Germany study abroad trip, right?" I was thinking, what if we did a qualitative research study on the impact of the experience on the students? And you could be the lead researcher. Wow, I thought, I haven't even had my coffee yet. Of course, I said, sign me up. I also had the opportunity to do my teaching internship in a counseling skills course that Dr. Lilly taught. It was lively. I think Dr. Lilly would agree. From all of these experiences, I've been privileged to be invested at a high level. Dr. Lilly, thank you for leading by example, and I hope as I enter the counselor education field that I have even half the heart of a mentor that you do. Next, 2 Timothy 4:11. Paul says, Luke alone is with me. Get Mark and bring him with you, for he's very useful to me for my ministry. We don't necessarily know how much older Paul was than Mark, but we do see evidence in the Bible that Paul was further along in his faith walk than Mark was. At some point, they had a parting of ways. But when Paul said these words, he was humble enough to know that he needed Mark's help. This verse made me think about how we need to stay humble and realize that God can also use people younger than us to help us. For example, my 24-year-old son Josh has taught me more about technology and AI, among other very important hip things, than I've learned in all the books I read during this work. Believe me, I was in kindergarten about AI when I started this whole thing. The first book I read was this one, Artificial Intelligence for Dummies. It's in my references list. I'll admit it. The 20 and 30 somethings among us grew up in the digital age. We should not hesitate to lean in and learn from them. The reality is that AI is not going away. In my last special ed teaching job, I worked at a high school in DeForest, Wisconsin. This was in the early 2000s, so students were just starting to bring their smartphones to school. Teachers were freaking out. This is going to be such an awful distraction, they cried in the teacher's lounge. Many teachers put baskets at the entrance to their rooms for students to deposit their cell phones in until class was over. But some teachers embraced the change. They incorporated phones into their teaching. They had students use a QR code to answer surveys and quiz questions and look up research and information on Google. The availability of AI is also a monumental change in our culture. We can be afraid of it and decide we want nothing to do with it, all the while not realizing that we're using it whether we want to be or not. It is critical to stay in a posture of learning and critically evaluate the information we choose to trust produced by AI. Studies like this can help us move forward responsibly and ethically with this powerful technology. And finally, Psalm 103, 2 through 5. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgives all your iniquity, heals all your diseases, redeems your life from the pit, who crowns you with steadfast love and mercy, who satisfies you with good, so that your youth is renewed like the eagles. Okay, I threw this one in here for me, but you might find that you relate to it as well. Before starting this program, I was at a point in my career that I felt kind of burned out and maybe a little washed up. I had some relational things happen at my clinic that left me feeling depleted and discouraged. After selling my clinic, I had personal challenges and a fair amount of depression. And just on time, God put this PhD program on my radar screen. I felt an invitation to lean in and see what I could learn. And that kind of happened during this process of transitioning in my career. Over the last few years, I've learned from the examples and teaching of about 20 godly, insanely intelligent, caring professors. I won't start naming them all because I don't want to leave anyone out. God used the influence of this program to renew my youth like the eagles. He has poured confidence and a new calling and purpose into me. I may be 58 years old, but it feels like I'm just getting started. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being awesome.
Thank you, Debbie. So the committee will now get to kind of do some follow-up questions. And so while I appreciate the enthusiasm of the group, Debbie's correct. Only committee get to kind of ask questions at this point. But first of all, I just want to say really well done, even after seeing your finished product since you and I met and talked about this. I just, yeah, I was excited for this from the get-go, right? And then I was able to kind of tap some peeps that I knew would also be equally excited. And I think you're right, Debbie. I think man, the world is wide open about this, right? This is just one of the first to be able to lay some foundation. And I loved how well you did that. That it would have been so great to look at all these other things, but foundationally, right? Just had to look at some bare minimum. And you and I always compare like AI kind of notes on stuff. So I asked ChatGPT if there would be a better option to use than ChatGPT, right? For
looking at transcripts and diagnosing skills. So I just want you to know, first, they did list themselves and say, no, I'm the best. You should definitely use me, and gave touch points why. But also the suggestion was made to feed it a rubric and train it to do better. And I thought, oh yes, we do know this, that would be preferable. And then like Lumiere got pulled up because it said that it would be a tool that would actually look more at empathy, reflection, spirit kind of things. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. So, I mean, if you had a do-over, Debbie, you still think, I mean, because I know you and I were both in the Chat GPT camp. We looked at others. Even though we know the video piece, right? Professors complained about the transcripts. They wish they had video. Still, we think Chat GPT, would you have got, if you could do over, would you go back with them?
I think I would, even though there may be better options out there. It's the one that is most well known, and that people can, oh, you could do that in Chat GPT. I wanted it to be relevant to the average person. And personally, I was just curious for myself to see how it could do. I did really want to make sure that, it was done ethically, and that there was nothing shared within ChatGPT that would have identified anyone. Of course, my study didn't do that anyway. But yeah, I would have. And also, I'm really excited to test out the other ones.
Yeah, and the video piece, right? Because I feel like professors are really going to shine on that. Because I'm always like team us, like how do we really, really shine? And that's the piece we have, because even in talking to you, I'm like, we're not even trained to really read transcripts. Like I just feel like I'm like, what is all that? I just want to see it. I want to experience. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And so before I toss it over to Dr. Switzer, Dr. Crable, I'm wondering, I've never done a research design, Debbie, where I didn't want to do something over. Like I've always been like, oh, I wish I would have asked that, or this would have been really good. Is there any tweaks now that you have all this great experience? I'm just curious that if you could go back, it would have been nice to have made that change.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, really, really wish I could have used the archival data from the practicum courses, because then that would have also taken in all the demographic data. The approval process would have been longer. I was on a short timeline, and I wasn't getting any indication that IRB or, Liberty was going to change their mind on that. So I just plunged forward, like you and I agreed, let's just take what we've got and work with that. But if I did have the time, if I wasn't 58, I might have said, I'm just going to take, a couple years on this and do what I have to do to be able to access that. But I feel like it's still something I can do in the future, to overcome those hurdles. It really hampered things to not be able to get that demographic data and look at the multicultural impacts and differences, and actually evaluate transcripts from counselors who were in training. So yeah, that'd be the main thing.
Yeah, and we didn't really know until we got into it, and then we're like, oh yeah, I guess that can't be pulled off. But we fought till the end, and then we're like, okay, we tried, we gave it the college effort, right? And then we said, okay, that's it, we're done. But yeah, so I'll pass it to Dr. Switzer, and I do want to say though, Debbie, that is one thing, and I'm sure you reflect upon your growth throughout this process, but I just think the effort, and you're right. When I came rolling out of the shower that day and showed up in class, I was like, I've got this great idea. Like you never laughed at my ideas. And even this whole AI idea, I'm like, ooh, what about this? Or what about this? Ooh, we could do this. Like we spent so much time brainstorming, and yeah, you were just right there with me in my goofiness. And I just appreciated, I just think just the effort and energy, right? Because yeah, that's how this project really came to fruition, right? All the fun brainstorming. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Dr. Switzer.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Lilly. Debbie, fantastic job. This is a pivotal piece, and I think you're absolutely correct in your assessment that there are so many places to go, but you got to start with the foundational. You got to start somewhere and start getting that data, and then this is going to provide the case to take it even further. So maybe there will be yeses to some of those doors that were closed later, because now we have some reasoning for that. I am really curious. So I am so heartened to hear that Rogers did well on his evaluations, and that counselor educators understood what he was doing was doing it well, and as well as I. But I find it fascinating the different types of feedback that the PhD students rated for the counselor educators versus the AI, so that the clarity, practicality, relevance, and depth of the feedback was preferred for the counselor educators, but just balance. So as a counselor educator, you will work to train and educate new counselors, but then eventually potentially even new counselor educators. So what will this change for you and how you will approach feedback, and then also how you might teach feedback?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. Um, I think, gosh, this might sound, it doesn't matter how it sounds. I think I do that well already. Dr. Lilly and I worked with some pretty challenging students in our lively, fun class. And, there were times when buttons were pushed and I was like, oh, we should just eject this person. We should push the button. They shouldn't be in this class. Um, and I felt like God really helped reel me in and look at this person and what's underneath the iceberg, what's going on. And I really just tried to make time to pull him aside, treat him kindly, do some one-on-one meetings, kind of find out a little bit more of the story. There were a lot more challenges that could meet the eye in this little screen that we're on. And so, offering time for him to do role plays and making sure I pointed out he actually had a lot of skills that were strong. And then it was more some dispositional things that were showing up. And Dr. Lilly and I both were just direct with him. And I learned a lot from that specific situation. In teaching counselor educators, just to do that by example, and that's what I experienced in these classes. It was like a 3D experience where our professors were all of these things, they were, so Dr. Lilly, yes, I'll have that chapter to you by Friday, and it's Monday and she still doesn't have the chapter. And she just treated me with grace and kindness, but also, okay, what's the new date? Because we need a new date. That was really helpful for me to see that example. And so that's kind of the way I would approach it, just to be what I'm asking them to be.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting too, because when I read through it and Debbie and I talked about it, Dr. Switzer, I was like, I just think as counselor educators, we come off kinder in person and watching videos. I think it's hard for us to do all that reading, like, because then I feel like it's almost like my paper mind goes into it. I'm like, red, 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 tick, 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 tick. I don't know that, but I told her, I said, that's just my gut. Like, I feel like we would shine better and we would have more of that balance. But you're right. It was super interesting finding. Yeah, for sure. Dr. Switzer, other questions or comments before we toss to Dr. Crable?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Dr.
Dr. Switzer.
Crable. Yeah.
Hi, Debbie and everyone. Amazing, amazing, amazing work. I remember receiving that text from Dr. Lilly, and I was like, I don't really have time to help. But then when she told me the topic, I was like, yes, I want to do it. I'm excited about it. And so I really, really do appreciate the all the content, all the things that you put in. Is really a great foundational research moving forward, and hopefully we all can continue with your work. And my only question is really about, well, I have lots of questions, but that's just for future things. But how was it actually coming up with the prompts? And were you have any concerns, or maybe you would have done things a little bit differently with, because we have to feed things into AI. So how did
Sure.
you come about your prompts for that?
Yeah, good question. So I'm going to pull up my prompt. Give me 1 second. Mm, yeah, I can't find that right now. But essentially, I consulted with my good friend Melissa Smith, who has a beautiful mind for all things AI and technical. And together we came up with the instructions for this, the same instructions that were sent to professors. We wanted them to have the same exact verbiage. And essentially it was, please evaluate this counseling transcript by using the attached CCSR counseling skills rubric as if you were a licensed clinical supervisor. Please provide comments for feedback. And so we tested that out to see how it would do it in the pilot study. And the intention was to change the prompt if we got some kind of wonky, if it did something totally weird. But it didn't. The evaluations looked to be somewhat nuanced, before we did all the large statistical analysis on the larger study. So we kept the same prompt. And that was just by putting my head together with somebody else who had really played in that space. And I do want to give that shout out to Melissa because she was just a huge help and friend to me throughout this process and selflessly gave of her time to let me pick her brain and play with who she affectionately calls ChatGPT.
Yes.
So
She's named
I would
hers. Yeah.
I would have a question and she'd say, "Have you asked Chad what he thinks?" Yeah, it always came down to our human brains coming up with the final result. So great question.
Great, great. Thank you. And I don't have anything, so I'm very excited about this research. Great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad
Thanks, Dr.
you
Crable.
decided to throw in your chips and that you enjoyed the topic, Dr. Crable. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and to be fair too, Debbie, right? I give a little bit of a teaser, like, hey, just wondering if you got a little time. And then I'm like, oh, let me email you details. And then yeah, I just couldn't resist. So I love that. I love that was influential. All right, so committee, I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna call you in the other room so we can have a quick chat. And then what I would say to everyone watching this, you guys are welcome, because we're gonna jump out of this meeting, jump in another one just super fast. You guys can open your mic, take off your camera. You could say hi to Debbie. Just remember this is being recorded. I'm just saying, just don't forget that. And then we'll be right back with you. Debbie, we'll hop out and I'll call you guys. All right, be right back.
Sounds good.
Nice job, Debbie.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Good job, Debbie.
Great job,
Thanks,
Debbie.
Oh, you guys are so good to me. Yes.
Good job, Deb. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
Good
you.
job, Debbie. Absolutely amazing. You were so calm, cool, collected. I have no idea how I'll be when I get there, but I was so impressed with your just completely calm and level-headed space, and you did an excellent job.
Thanks, Erica. Yeah, my husband let me run it by him like 3 times last night, so that really helped just to have that part. Thank you, Robin. Is little Brookie there, or is she running around?
Yeah, she's running around.
Good.
I saw her for a split second, Robin. She's getting so big.
She is. Yeah, she's with you in heart, Dee Dee. But yeah, she
thank you.
really needs to see what her balloon is doing. And so that's the priority today. Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Great job, Debbie. Congratulations.
Thank
you
you,
have
Dr.
a huge
Ford.
fan club here today. I'm so excited to see how much support you have.
I do have some people. They're pretty awesome.
You've got some awesome people. It's nice to meet your husband. Hi, Mark. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you as well.
Well, you did a great job, Debbie. I agree with what Erica said. You were so calm and just charted through it. I love that. Great job.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, all the support.
Couldn't miss this, Debbie. You did so well. I had a client until noon and I was like, okay, you have to go because I'm logging on for this right now. It's important. It was great.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Hayes.
Yeah, good.
Appreciate it.
Awesome job, Deb. I was just beaming the whole time. So proud of you.
Oh, thanks, Claudia.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. I know you're a busy woman.
No, especially the when you were speaking about how you already do this well. Um, Absolutely brought me back, hearken to
Mhm.
7 years ago and just the faith you put in me. So
Mhm. Thanks, Claudia. That was easy with you.
I don't know if dissertation defenses typically make people cry, but when you were going through the verses and thanking the people who have supported you, I was just like, it just was really touching and heartwarming. I thought that was a beautiful thing that you added there.
Thank you, Erica. Glad that touched you.
Yeah, as everyone's kind of coming back on, and if people want to leave your cameras on, you are welcome to. I know that seems a little bit scary at first, right? Where I'm like, oh, everyone get cameras off. Yeah, and I want to say, it's interesting because, right, Debbie, usually I'm the one that gets all choked up and I'm making people cry. As you're doing your thing, I'm like, oh my gosh, where is my tissue? Like I always have one in my pocket, and you know what a crybaby. Totally I am. And I love seeing Dr. Brown here because my daughter has told me, Debbie, like, I'm not allowed to mention Germany anymore. I guess I talked about it so much that now I have to say like the trip. And even when I was telling mom, I'm like, hey mom, I've got this meeting. I said, you remember Debbie? She's like, I do, but I was afraid she didn't really. Debbie, I'm like, the woman who jumped on the scooter with you, like in Germany. Mom goes, I know Debbie. I love Debbie. I'm like, okay, I'm just checking, but I'm not even allowed to talk about Germany anymore. I have to say like the trip, right? Or
Oh my
remember
goodness,
that time internationally, like I can't even, right? And so, yeah, so I do love all those touch points because for me as a counselor educator, I don't get that with a lot of students. Maybe I get to teach them and maybe I get to chair them, but to look at all of these awesome touch points and ones that truly, Debbie, like I want to see keep going, right? We can't end it there. I know that a conference proposal's been put in and your committee and I feel really strong about, of course, this has to be put into articles because no one except for maybe your wonderful husband, like no one in your family reads your dissertation, right? I mean, my mom has a copy. She's not read that bounded book, but nobody reads it except for your committee. Maybe the hubster, but I mean, we really want to see this. We want to see this put out there because it's that good. It's that good and that interesting. And I think others, especially counselor educators, want to know about how could I supplement, right, my supervision and just take it to the next level, which I think is what you're talking about here. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there's of course a few little like minor things. So I will send you an email after this, but not until you get to celebrate, because it is my honor and pleasure to get to say congratulations, Dr. Millman. That it is just truly, just truly an honor and a blessing to get to celebrate with you. And I know it's been a long road, but man, what a fruitful one. And so, Debbie Millman, I say congratulations. And now it's, now we're colleagues. So, congrats, Dr. Millman. And if anyone else wants to do congrats, I'll open it to committee first, and then others, you are welcome to share your congratulations.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you, Stacy.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Congratulations, Debbie. You earned it. Fantastic job. We, of course, 100% agree with Dr. Lilly. This work needs to continue. It's amazing. And I absolutely mean when I said in the chat, everyone in your family needs to call you doctor now. That's the only way to address you until at least 2 years worth of Christmases. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, same here. Congratulations. And it's always wonderful to add somebody else to the team. And so it's a special time, and please enjoy it and celebrate. And now you can be the boss and tell everybody in the house, doctor for the weekend. So I get a pass on everything. But congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Crable.
All right, Dr. Brown, you want to jump in as chair, and then we'll let everybody else kind of jump in, and people can come and go as they want. So.
Yes, I have to run to another meeting, so I was typing furiously into the chat here, but congratulations, Dr. Millman. So it was nice to get to know you on the trip, that thing that we're not allowed to talk about anymore. And now we have another manuscript to finish up. So
we do. That's
right.
I'm on it, Dr. Brown.
It
yes.
never ends, right?
Yes. Thank you, David.
But congratulations. This is, I think your topic is very timely. It's something that we are actually looking at in the department right now because we want to get ahead of it. You know, we want to be able to harness AI and use it for good and take advantage of all that it has to offer. So very nice work.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. It means a lot. All right.
Everyone else can open their mics. You're free to do that. And as soon as the last person leaves, Dr. Millman, I'll have that recording. I'll make sure and send that your way. So I'll give you a few minutes to chat with all of them and we will see you. But I'll send you an email in the next couple of days.
Sounds
Just take
good.
a little break. Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks, Stacey. Have a good day.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye, guys.
You did it.
Oh my goodness.
I'm so happy for you.
Congratulations.
But does this mean that I won't get like late night text messages anymore?
Oh, I'll figure something to send you.
Okay, good. I'll miss those.
Oh my gosh.
And you did that
well,
like
she was always right there in between those. What are those desks behind you? She was
Yes.
always just like right there with the, what can I do for you, Mrs. Millman?
Right, exactly. Oh.
Yes.
Well, I was like driving during most of it, so I had to like pull in when she's like, "Okay, I'll open up the camera." I was like, "Oh no, I have to pull in the driveway so I can hop on here." But
Oh,
congratulations, you did it, Dr. Millman.
Sweet. Thank
Yes.
you, Melissa.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I'm hopping into a session, but we'll be, I'll be
Oh, yeah.
texting you soon.
I'll be seeing you. Okay.
Alrighty. Bye.
So Dr. Millman, I mean,
Oh, yes, sir.
that's the first person in our family that we call doctor whatever. So I'm
Well,
so proud of you.
Jen, Mom always wanted me to be a doctor. So
She did. And of course, Mom would always say, I should have been a doctor, a detective, you name it. Mom was always thinking of being something, but she would be so proud of you right now. So,
oh yeah.
as
Yeah,
we
I'm
all
not sure
are.
this is exactly what she had in mind when she wanted me to be a doctor, but that's all right. Yeah.
Very proud of you, Deb.
Thanks,
You did a
Dan.
great job. It was amazing. You really did a good job. And it wasn't boring at all.
Oh, good. Thanks, Sissy. Good. I'm glad you could be there in your minivan.
I knew it wasn't going to be boring. It's you. Like,
well,
Oh, Dr. Millman, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Sissy.
I love
Thank
you.
you guys for taking time to be here today. And our family's going to be partying in May. So.
Amen. I think we should call you Dr. Deb.
Well, Robin and Andrew are calling me Triple D. Dr. Deb Dog. So. Priscilla. We've got
Mia and I want to say we are so stinking proud of you. I am so proud of you, my friend. And now I have to call you Dr. Friend.
Dr. Friend, there we go.
Dr. Friend of mine.
You guys, Mia is Baxter's mommy.
Yes.
Our Baxter, yeah.
We listened to the whole thing, me, Mama, and Mia, but Mama is still in her PJs. So
congratulations,
Show us your
Debbie.
PJs, Mama.
Congratulations, Debbie. So proud of you.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much.
We love you.
All right. Love you too. Talk to you soon, friend. All right, guys, go get some lunch. I love you.
Debbie, go party hard. We love you.
Will do.
Love you,
Deb.
Love
you too.
Congrats.
Bye.
Congratulations,
Bye.
son.
What an accomplishment.
Now, Truett, did you have a question?
Oh, Mark. Yeah, now you can ask your question if you have a question. Now that I'm not being evaluated.
Truett and Sherry, you guys got a question? I saw you raise your hand. They might have checked out.
Are they really there?
Amen.
Oh my goodness. Well, thanks,
congratulations,
son.
son.
Sorry I threw you that
Yeah,
audible
no,
about
I'm,
praying.
I'm good. I'm
I
good. I've always
I
got a
think you're
sugar
pretty good
stick.
on the fly with that stuff.
Guns loaded. Yeah. I love you. Congratulations.
All right. Have a good day there. I'll see you tonight.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.